Professional football in America is a special game, a unique game. Played nowhere else on earth, it is a rare game. The men who play it make it so.
Hey, everyone in, let's go. Huddle up on 3. 1, 2, 3, huddle up. God, I can't never play football before. He costs them nothing. You hear me? They please us like we do. Yes, sir. They sweat us like we do. Do you hear me? They went through 2 days. We went through 2 days in 110-degree heat. Yes, sir. I want you to hit everything to move. If the ref gets in your way, you hit him. Okay, then, let's play. But they're cheating us too. They're against us too. This is our team. This is us. Let's go right now. Let's get it off now. Let's go.
Back-to-back, man. You do not see this in college football.
But the Georgia Bulldogs bludgeon their way to back-to-back. Glory, glory, Georgia, as the fight song says.
For the lead. Butker up, got it. And the Kansas City Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57. And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
You are looking live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, Huddle Up Podcast. You are looking live December the 5th, 2023. We are glad to be back with you as we continue our way through the football season. And we are back here with you for another one. If you are following along with us live, we certainly do appreciate that, as always. Head and give us a like and a share. Interact with us in the comments wherever you are watching along with us, be it Facebook, be it Twitch, be it YouTube. Plenty of comments last week and a ton of interaction even after the show. So even if you're catching us after the fact, you can comment wherever you are watching, and you can subscribe on all podcast platforms as well. If you check us out on the YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button. We would certainly appreciate it. Get your merchandise over at tpublic.com. Plenty of great offerings over there, so make sure you check that. I believe they have sales going all through the month of December. So we would certainly appreciate that support as well.
And who knows, maybe your spouse's favorite mug can also become the student of the game, right, EJ Christian?
Oh, dang.
I hate you so much, dude. I told you. I need a week off from you.
Jim, as a Christmas present to EJ, can we get a I hate you, Care added to the
yeah,
I hate you, Care.
I hate you, Kyle.
I think even Matt smiled at that one a little bit.
Oh, Matt smiles? Oh, his feelings. Oh, interesting.
Well, let's not go too far. It's kind of like the Belichick thing.
Let's not stress.
Half the reason he's named AJ Hawk is because he's already on to Cincinnati. I get it.
It is true. Ernest EJ Christian, besides getting dunked on, how are you this week?
Pass. I'm well. How you guys doing?
Well, you are the Artful Dodger. Student of the game, Kyle Nash. How are we doing?
I mean, bro, I'm doing. First of all, listen, before we even get into the lean and thick meat of this show, no comments, EJ. I have to admit, in your intro here, Big Jim.
Oh my!
Indeed, well played, Mr. Takei. The hearing Kirk Herbstreit going, you don't see that in college football, and then they started talking about Georgia. The irony floweth. No, you ain't seen in college football here pretty soon. Not so much, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We're not going to see back from Georgia, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. Matt, how we doing this week?
Doing well. I had to do a quick wardrobe change during the intro just to combat the Cowboys gear that you have on, and that I'm sure EJ has on under his black tee. It's tougher to do a wardrobe change in the white van. I get it.
Is that Kevin Cobb?
This is a number 1. So
I know like a 4. Sorry. Never mind. Okay.
I don't think anyone ever bought a Kevin Cobb jersey.
I figure diehard.
I think
No one bought a Kevin Cobb jersey, not even his
Family.
Damn.
I have a nice gingerbread cookie stout from Trogs that I will be enjoying during the show. And I'm also wearing black since the Eagles season apparently is dead.
dead.
Can't
Time of
ever
death
come back
Sunday.
from a win. So
Hey,
Yeah,
listen,
I'm rocking
I'm the guy whose team has beat the shit out of all y'all's teams, even more than one of EJ's. So hey,
a couple of them.
yeah. I feel.
Yeah, Matt, I got a North Pole Pale from Brewdog, day number 5 of
Very
the
nice.
Advent calendar. So
I swear
I
to
know
God,
this kind of party, I would have come in with my left-hand peanut butter stout, but
I swear to God, you guys make PAs look sound so fun.
what do you mean?
Oh,
You
I
know,
mean,
you
don't
can-
you have beer in
can
Florida?
buy beer in any state these
Like,
days.
I mean, my brother lives in Florida. He buys beer regularly. Kyle also enjoys beer. Like, what do you-
allegedly. No, he likes.
I mean,
not to be confused with a certain
Allegedly.
a certain Supreme
like, are you
Court
not
judgment.
allowed alcohol in the security van? Is that the problem?
I'm on duty, buddy. Get it right.
I mean,
He is
like maybe that's the issue.
Yeah, I'm on duty right now, buddy. Ooh, I said duty. Ooh.
Well, I mean, with your takes, it makes sense. All right,
from way downtown.
let's instead of leading off with the good, bad, and the ugly, we'll get there. How much time we spend in that realm will depend on how much time we spend in this realm. Because it is arguably, maybe not even arguably, the biggest news in sports this week. The college football playoff semifinals are set. And what we know, and this was revealed on Sunday, number 1 Michigan will face number 4 Alabama in the Rose Bowl on January 1st. Number 2 Washington will take on number 3 Texas in the Sugar Bowl. Currently, and again, this is just all for amusement's sake and betting sake and all of that stuff. Michigan a 1.5 point favorite currently in the Rose Bowl. Texas 4-point favorite in the Sugar Bowl. Obviously, we're not going to make predictions here almost a month out. But the biggest news or the biggest discussion point over the past couple of days is Texas 3, Alabama 4, Florida State 5, Georgia 6, and then, well, everybody else. Lead us off, and Matt, maybe we'll start with you. What was right in your opinion? What was wrong? Did the committee get it quote unquote right here?
I think they did. I've said in the group chat, and I'll stand by it, that I would have preferred to see Georgia in that 4 spot over Alabama, just for the reason that they held the number 1 spot so long. They've coming off the back-to-back championships, but you do need to get penalized for the loss. So I understand why they were knocked out ultimately to a team that did in the end beat them when they needed to beat them. So I can't be too mad at Alabama sneaking into the 4 above Georgia, above Florida State. I think that would be my only nitpick, and I'm not upset about it. I think either way, Alabama or Georgia, both of those teams were deserving, so you have to go with head-to-head, and that's what they did.
Kyle, same question to you. Did you think the committee got the 4 right, and why?
If I may so humbly pass the baton to EJ next, as somebody who was accused of becoming unhinged on this panel, I think I deserve to wait my turn.
That's fair. EJ, thoughts on the top 4?
Pass. No, I'm joking. Obviously, you know how I feel about this. Look, we for weeks been saying this. There are 2 separate arguments here about deserving and best teams. I was saying Florida State was not even a top 4 team when Jordan Travis was healthy. Remember when they made a change with Washington before Florida State 5 like 3 weeks ago? I said that. But again, Florida State did his job. You know, yes. Are they one of the 4 best teams in college football right now? No. Are they one of the top 6? Probably not either. But they went 13-0. If it doesn't mean anything, then why we play fucking games? I get the arguments of best teams, the quarterbacks, all this shit, and all the politics behind that. It's infuriating because if we're talking about 1-loss teams here battling for this stuff out, no problem. That's not even an argument. Put us number 9 for crying out loud. I don't give a fuck. Undefeated team though, does that mean for something? And look, the ACC sucks. We get that. We've been saying for years ACC sucks. Then stop recognizing the ACC as a fucking Power 5 team, Power 5 conference. I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I have a problem with. Now, as for the best teams, they got a three-fourths of the way right. I still think Georgia's top 4 team in college football, personally. But as Matt said earlier, they can be there. Games that have to count with something, and Bama beat Georgia. Boom. And Texas beat Alabama. So you correct that problem. So, and now let me go cry now, bitch. Fuck.
As the guy who was accused of being unhinged, I believe the exploration led by way of Steve Perry of Journey is a very fair question to ask in regards to who's crying now. See, here's the thing. Ernest TJ Christian will come out here. Thank you for the lighting there on the video for those who are listening to the pod there as Jim gets into his old concert form there. How can the games not matter and then you also lament Georgia being knocked out? You can't have that both ways. Nice flawed argument, EJ. A, B. Gentlemen, everyone seems to forget the landscape that is college football. And at the end of the day, there have been fires burning all over college football, changing up conferences. So I ask you, EJ. Yeah, that would be you.
Man, you hit the post on that one. That's impressive.
Very.
First of all, let me also remind the world talent, bitch. Second, EJ, your arguments are adorable and emotional, even though you use The Rock to promote your Knowles, which is still ridiculous. And I asked people about that while I was at the Ale House on Sunday watching the Broncos play the Texans. More on that later.
The Denver Broncos.
Hey, listen, we can't lament them too much. Somehow Russell Carrington-Wilson with not Nathaniel Hackett as a coach is a better player. Who'd have thought that? But let's focus still on the college. There's a number of other things that aren't being factored in and let out. The reason why I mentioned the fires of the rest of college football, fellas, is because it's a factor. EJ, to his credit, the one great point amongst all the other crap he dribbled here leading into this particular part of the conversation is that FSU and the ACC, why does the ACC even exist? The reasons are legal in nature. The ironclad conference agreement and contracts, teams have been trying to get out of them for the past 2 off seasons. Specifically, FSU very publicly went to banks looking for loans. I'm not sitting here to say that they're like Dr. Evil going for $100 billion. But hey, don't be surprised if the number is $500 million or something like that to try to get out of these sorts of things. That's why FSU's kind of stuck. In FSU's defense, they did try to escape the ACC and were dragged down by it. Why is it still a conference? Because of legality. Already the Pac-12 is all but dead, let's be clear. In a year where somehow they were arguably the best conference in college football. But the question posed was, then why is the ACC acknowledged? Sir, I'm telling you, the world's currently doing the best, led by your Seminoles, that they don't, and they shouldn't be. Unfortunately, it didn't happen quite fast enough. So you try to say, fuck everybody in the club. And as Cat Williams reminds us during one of his comedy routines, you can't walk up in the club, say, fuck everybody in the club, and not expect somebody to be waiting for you at your car.
So let me ask you this real quick, Kyle. Do you think this situation, this scenario that happened with Florida State, given the ACC situation, the politics behind it, this could be the death knell of the conference now. This situation here.
I think we were saying that already.
But this situation, man, exacerbated, in other words.
Yeah, I think it's another nail, is what you mean to say, or should be saying, in my opinion, at least. This was no death knell. These tones have been playing for some time. Hell, once the moment UCF, and I can tell you intimately, due to the coverage I participate in with the black and gold banneret, since UCF is starting to make more money in their TV contract from their TV broadcasts collectively based on their cut of the Big 12 conference than a Miami or a Florida, in the words EJ might use, they big mad. They big mad.
What I can wait for with this also too is that even if Georgia, people blame Alabama and the Saban thing, I'm not even pissed about that, to be honest with you. That is what it is. I think when I came with this, after this announcement on Sunday, is that no matter what happened, I think the committee was hell bent on keeping Florida State out, no matter what. If Georgia won that game if Georgia won that game on Saturday, It's Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Texas.
I don't think so.
I disagree.
You disagree with that?
I don't think so. I
Interesting.
don't think so.
Okay.
Now, granted, you're also assuming a healthy Travis in the scenario. Are you not?
No, I'm assuming the situation that we had presented into the weekend.
Okay. Let me tell you the best defense for what you're saying. I think, to your credit, I think the committee does hide behind Jordan Travis no matter what.
Absolutely.
I think that statement's accurate. I think that would get Texas in. And frankly, I feel like, excuse me, I feel like it was more likely Ohio State might sneak in, and an argument could be made, even though they weren't participating in college conference.
No, I don't think Ohio State was anywhere near this.
I'm not saying it's the most likely one.
Right.
I wasn't prepared to take it off the table, is what I'm saying.
No. To Kyle's point, when I was looking at scenarios leading to weekend and all this stuff, that's one scenario came to mind. Even if all the things happen Florida State needs to do to make sure they get in, there's still that, what if they consider the Buckeyes? That crossed my mind a couple times.
Hold on.
Also.
You're saying if Georgia won, Michigan won, Washington won,
Texas
Florida
won,
State won, Texas won, you were thinking that Ohio State was going to find their way in the 4th spot.
It would depend on how
No.
the games in question were.
Kyle, sorry about that.
Yeah.
If Texas lost, excuse me. Look at different scenarios.
No, dude, no. Stop it. No.
If Texas lost, they got 2 losses. That's not an option. Yeah, no, forget it.
No, but the problem is more so the Florida State angle. Do they still get taken out for Ohio State?
No.
Because then you have
Here's another thing that you're neglecting to account for. You keep saying Florida State did everything it was supposed to do. No, the fuck they didn't. Stop it.
What didn't they do?
Great question, Jim. You set the table very nicely for Kyle. Those may wonder why on earth Ohio State in 2014, the first CFP champion in our current 4-team playoff system, was allowed to extend with Carnell Jones. After all, they won the championship. He was a third-string quarterback. What is he even doing there? Hurt quarterbacks shouldn't matter. Here's the thing. What everybody tends to forget is he had an audition in the Big Ten Conference Championship game against Wisconsin. And in fact, redheaded stepchild style, beat and slapped the bejesus out of him. Whereas FSU had 2 separate auditions, one against Florida and one against alleged top 10 team. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Jim. Wannabe top 10 team. I didn't want you to have to go to the board. That was unfair by me. Wannabe top 10 team, Louisville. And they were awful. There were there were as many total points practically in the ACC championship game as Bama scored against Georgia, who I know has a more vaunted defense than either of the teams on that field.
the difference between, and wait, it's a fantastic point you made there. I'm not knocking the point. This is what I keep coming back to. I think we keep missing this point here. The anomaly here between Ohio State in 2014 and Florida State this year, Florida State is unbeaten. That's the anomaly there. Ohio State lost the game.
Here's another thing that I think a lot of people are overlooking in this discussion over the past couple of days is a week ago when we were discussing these rankings, Florida State was 4. They were ahead of Oregon. They were ahead of Texas. They were ahead of Alabama. They were ahead of Ohio State.
They shouldn't have been ahead of Oregon, but that's another question.
But they were, Kyle.
Right.
Okay. So, hold on.
I'm just
hold on.
I want the complete picture out there.
But here's one of my. You keep saying they shouldn't have belonged there. You've said that all year. We know how you feel about the ACC. That point has been said loud and clear all season. The committee has disagreed with you all season.
Have they though?
They have, Kyle, because Florida State's been 3rd and 4th all year. So this committee has told you all year what they think about them. This committee told you they were better than Oregon and Texas and Alabama and Ohio State a week ago when they had a game against Florida prior to the ACC title game. So why did it matter that they were 12-0 and one game with a backup quarterback where they looked terrible, in your words? To this week,
yes,
but they didn't.
Okay.
Okay, but they should have. So if they were worse than Oregon, they should have been under them, right? If they were worse than Texas, they should have been under them, right? But like they weren't. So like my gripe, and it's not even necessarily my gripe, because the top four teams that are sitting in front of us are the teams that I said would be the top four.
And rightly so.
When everything played out on Saturday. However, I have zero issue with Florida State fans, with the Florida State team and the ACC being upset by this. Because they were told a week ago they were better than Texas, and they were better than Alabama.
Again, this is the thing also too. We have to get back to it for me.
Wait, real quick, EJ.
Go ahead.
Jim posed a question. I feel like I've answered it. I'm telling you, there's politics you're not accounting for. Mm-hmm. And I know, it's Kyle with his conspiracy theories. God damn it, it holds some weight. Let's pretend for a minute that Michigan was in a compromised position where a mere tie break-ish sort of factor could have kept them out with another team out of the playoff. You better bet your goddamn entire rear end there, Marge, that the Harbaugh scandal would have been enough for the committee to hide behind to keep them out. And
it absolutely would have.
And it's the same damn thing that are actually in the CFB committee rules that they did with the Jordan Travis injury. And the same thing they did to UCF when Mackenzie Milton got hurt in 18. That is the rule. You're asking why. I'm trying to explain it to you.
But why didn't they use that logic last week when Jordan Travis's leg got broken and they played again?
The audition hadn't happened yet.
No, but
they literally played Florida with a back.
No, they moved up one spot even after
the audition was the championship game, though. Okay, listen, somebody invited EJ into the room. Oh, it's Florida. It's the guy's first start. He got hurt. Now they're going to change to a third guy. Let's see if he could do better. There's a whole lot of other things. Let's see if they do really well against the top 10 air quotes team. Okay, the air quotes are mine, not the committee's. But there was the opportunity for them to beat the pants off the Cardinals. And they were basically, in my view, doing what they could to set up a scenario where they could either hide behind Travis or be compelled by FSU's performance.
I have a question.
FSU's performance did not give them enough ammo to be compelled.
Offensively, yes.
They did hold a statistical top 20 offense to 6 points. But EJ, your question.
Alleged top. And by the way, we're talking about things that got forgotten. I'm forced to bring up a loss that's more embarrassing than Pitt and a win that's more embarrassing.
Yeah, you failed. You tripped over that one.
Yeah, over that one.
Over Boston College, where they lost to Thomas Castellanos. Suck it, Irish.
I think he's more mad that he tripped over the point. EJ, your question.
Do you agree with Stephen A's take that
no?
That was
funny. The answer is no, but finish the question.
Let me finish it though. That the team to blame for this is TCU from last year because what happened in championship game.
No,
it's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. TCU won a playoff game last year.
Thank you.
To his argument, Florida State should have gotten in and then gotten basted in the national.
For the listeners, real quick, who don't know what I'm talking about,
quickly.
Stephen A said that basically because TCU got boat race was 63-7, what the hell it was in the championship game against Georgia. That therefore that's what the committee wants to make sure they have the best product out there.
You had
why this happened also too
first, so that's why that was stupid. Okay,
it was,
and any given Saturday can happen. And third, the conference championship game was close. And if anybody else that year took care of business, they'd have been in. They failed to. Yeah. They all pulled an FSU, except for the fact that FSU actually won the game. But really, the losers were America watching that.
The bad take was the fact that TCU beat, loses to Georgia, but they beat Michigan before, and then the same Michigan team that beat Ohio State, who almost beat Georgia in the playoff. Like, stupid take. Stop.
I mean, Stephen E. Smith and bad takes is nothing new, so
true,
I don't know what we're really doing here.
Thanks, EJ.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, I what the committee is tasked to do is put the best 4 teams in, okay? And there was 2 scenarios that they had to work with. Georgia wasn't even in the conversation because they lost. Sorry, Georgia fans. That is what it is. The 2 scenarios they had to work on is are we going off wins and losses? Because in that case, it would have been Michigan, Washington, Florida State, and then Texas. Because again, head-to-heads have to matter. Mm-hmm. Or do you go with what we got because head-to-heads have to matter? And we got what we got. And I think the committee got the 4 best teams right. Like, It sucks. It sucks for Florida State. I'm not gonna lie. It sucks for Jordan. If you haven't seen the Jordan Travis tweet, that's fucking heartbreaking.
Gut punch.
No, I can't agree that I had the same reaction to it. He reacted as a quarterback in that scenario. Should I was
should, but it's also heartbreaking that a 23-year-old graduating college kid has to feel that way.
Oh no, it's tough. Yeah, I'm not here to be that heartless, but I'm like, yeah, I wasn't. It didn't surprise me, but here's the thing. I give him credit. I wasn't heartbroken. I was proud of the kid's class because you know who actually got let down? It was Jordan Travis by his team. They, without him, couldn't have
the offense did, right? The offense, well, I would say the defense played fucking fantastic last 2 weeks
against a defense that also nearly lost to Thomas Castellano 30-29. Stop it, EJ.
Louisville was the top 15 offense in college football. What are we talking about?
Allegedly. Let's pull that schedule up, bitch. Let's see what they did. Exactly. No one wants to talk about that, right, Irish? Anyways.
Well, I mean, what are you bringing Notre Dame into this for?
Actually, no, that's unfair.
I don't see the point in that.
No, it's Irish schedules in the past. You're right. That's my fault. This year, the Irish had an excellent schedule.
Like I said, you can deep dive all you want. And once you do the homework, then you can come back and talk to me about that.
Kyle's PTSD.
Hey, hold on. I've already dunked on you in past seasons. Now I have to rehash it. No thanks. We both have better shit to do. You already lost.
Beating the same 11-year-old horse to death. That's great. Yeah, just
Jim.
doing that.
Oh, yeah, okay, great. Tell me about how you actually like Mike McCarthy now. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, family man, Brian Kelly.
Do you believe the committee what they said? Because they said specifically after the rankings came out that the reason they're not in is because of Jordan Travis.
Yes, I do believe that.
You believe that? Okay.
And
Kyle does not.
At least okay. That's at least a large part of it.
That's a better answer, Jim. I respect that.
That's a large part of it because that's their easy out. That's why they have it written in there. And Kirk Herbstreit and Greg McElroy and Joey Galloway and the rest of the ESPN panel got their memo Sunday morning to make sure they continue to pound that point. Let's Kyle, look at everything Kirk Herbstreit has said, posted, every reel, every video, every tweet, everything. The man is beating that point to death.
Yep.
Like it looks like a sad marching order. Again, I think the 4 teams that we got are the correct 4 teams. But like it is embarrassing sometimes to watch that panel.
What I'm telling you is you're dying on the wrong hill with this, though. Like, if you want to talk about the shill that is ESPN, talk about all the shit Herbstreit was talking on Cincinnati when they got in. Oh, see, you got yours.
That's no different. It's the same thing.
Oh, not at all.
It actually is.
No, but it's not, though. Can I tell you why?
Go ahead, because you've had 6 years to build up on it. Go for it.
Because it's the actual rules of the committee, and they followed them. And to Kirk, listen, I'll give Herbstreit this much credit. As much as I don't appreciate his analysis nor his ability to call games, he is not my favorite. I have been public about that. The one thing I will give the dude credit on is his willingness, I should say, not his ability, his willingness to engage on social media. The one thing I will sympathize with him on is I can only imagine how much he was getting browbeaten, and he addresses it. He tried to put himself out there and continue to engage as he normally would, and for doing that, now he is a shill. I can't support.
He's been a shill for years. That's no different.
Sure, he's been a shill.
Sure, he gets out in front of it. He willingly engages with people. That's fine. He's still a fucking shill. He's an Ohio State shill, and he's an ESPN shill.
And he was a shill before he got to this, is what I'm saying.
That's fine, but I'm calling a spade a spade.
All
right, same with the panel. Look at Reese Davis, man. Reese Davis was not willing to even listen to any discussion outside of cool. The committee got it right. Go SEC. Like he was just fucking beating it to the ground. But again, it's all for show. It's all for clicks. Again, we're doing it here. Like,
yeah, it's a business, dude.
I mean, ultimately, who besides Florida State and Michigan fans are really that upset about the top 4?
I mean, Georgia to a lesser extent.
No.
Not really.
Don't gloss over that point that Matt just landed in thorough, subtle, freaking intelligent fashion. Y'all need to. I know Marge suddenly got eerily quiet too, just like that celebration.
I got quiet because you started yelling into your microphone. And unlike EJ, I try not to talk over everybody on this panel.
And I've done a good job today doing that, for the record, not talk over everybody today. So
okay, we're 20 minutes in.
Like
that, I mean, that's why I got quiet. So again, I think they got the 4 right. So they did at least part of the job correctly.
Yeah. No, Jim, I do agree. Like I said, I'll say one more time. Like it is 2 separate arguments here. Best team deserving versus deserving. I get all that. Best teams in here, yes, absolutely.
If you did, then we wouldn't be having this conversation,
right? But
so
again,
there's such thing as necessarily deserving.
Well, I mean, again, when like I said, the biggest difference is the 13-0 thing. Like again, if this is 12-1 Florida State, ranking number 9, I don't give a fuck. But again, 13-0.
But EJ, if you've been and this is the point that I'll disagree with you on. If you've been saying for a month, like you say you have, and we've heard it on this show, that they don't belong in the top 5 or top 6 for weeks, then you don't really have room to be upset. Then they weren't deserving to be in the top 4.
But I'm saying the deserving argument, then Liberty should be in there too.
But the out on that one is that they're not a Power 5 school. Again, that's what I'm trying to say. They're not.
Liberty's play probably had just as strong.
No, I don't disagree with Matt. I don't. But
aside from LSU.
But that's the out. I'm saying that's the out there for Liberty not being in there because they're not a Power 5 school. Again,
but
it's not a fair system.
Okay, but even you and FSU Homer has been saying that they're not a top 7 or top 8 team.
They don't
with Jordan Travis,
right? They don't feel like
they're not deserving of being in.
But they still. But again, you put 2 1-loss teams ahead of them. That's the thing. If it was other undefeated teams, it's one thing, but you didn't do that. You put 2 1-loss teams ahead of them. That's all I'm saying.
You paid no attention to history at this point.
You're the better strength of schedule is the 2 1-loss teams.
Thank you.
I understand that, but
no, you don't. Otherwise, you would make the argument.
And I still disagree with that. Again, the game should matter. If you're unbeaten, you should have more consideration than anything else. The results should matter first.
Okay.
I mean, they did have more consideration. That's why they are 5 and much higher than an undefeated Liberty team. They were considered.
Is Florida State one of the 4 best teams in college football?
Q Bishop Bullwinkle, you know it in your heart to be true.
No, I've already stated that, though. I told you no.
Okay. There we go. Some other notable bowl matchups. The New Year's Six Bowl, we have number 9 Missouri versus number Ohio State, number 7 Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, number 11 Ole Miss, number 10 Penn State in the Peach Bowl, number 6 Georgia versus number 5 Florida State in the Orange Bowl, and that Liberty team who got into this spot because they were 13-0. Interesting logic by the committee there. The number 23 Liberty taking on number 8 Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. Bo Nix has announced he will play, so that one will be ugly.
Real quick, he's playing so he can get some NFL.
So get that draft stock.
Hell yeah!
Draft stock, as I said.
What's the interesting logic by the committee you're citing there, Jim? I'm not following.
Because that spot could have been SMU's, but Liberty got in because they were 13-0, not 10-2.
Okay. I was wondering where you were going with that. Yeah.
So it was interesting. Again, it's the I understand why Florida State and ACC fans are mad because Liberty got there because they were 13-0. Florida State didn't because they were as well.
Well, at the end of the day, the ACC is worse than the American either, so I could see why SMU is complaining themselves.
Allegedly.
All right. Now, I know next year we go to a 12-team playoff picture. This is what the 12-team playoff would look like if it were starting this season. Michigan, Alabama, Washington, and Texas would have a bye. Oregon, number 8, would host number 9, Missouri. Number 5, Florida State would host number 12, Liberty.
Get waxed.
Number 7, Ohio State would host number 10, Penn State. We already know how that game ends. And number 6, Georgia would face and host number 11, Ole Miss. We already know how that game ends.
That's a good game. Was that game close this year? Oh, no, was that a blowout when they played earlier?
No, it wasn't. Was that the blow? I know.
I don't think it was a blowout, but they won comfortably.
It was a blowout and everything else other than the score.
52-17. It was a blowout on Auburn.
Oh God.
Well,
And that was less than a month ago.
Blowout all over
So,
it.
That's a different game than I thought it was. My mistake.
That was
Yeah,
my mistake as well.
yeah, that one would be ugly. The only
Was
good
it Miss State that was the one we're thinking of? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was South Carolina was a 10-point win for them. Georgia, they had a 7-point win over Auburn.
Tech was close.
Missouri was close.
Yeah,
Missouri was a 9-point win. Oregon, Missouri would be a good matchup.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good one. The rest of them would stink.
Yeah.
And like I know that it's one of my favorite like discussion points over the past couple of days is like people who have been saying that the 12-team playoff would fix all of this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I kind of get it because you have the automatic bids for conference champions, but it's not going to solve the other 6, right? Like the at-large teams getting in. Okay, well, this team should have been 11 because, this team didn't belong there. I don't think Penn State's a top 10 team.
They're not.
Like that would the conversation just gets extended.
But at least we eliminated Louisville, Jim.
But you won't have what you won't have is the egregious stuff on top of the card.
Other than the Penn State thing,
right? I'm not gonna cry wolf if like Penn State gets eliminated.
Crying a lot of other things this weekend. That's for damn sure.
That is a disgusting act.
For those who are listening to the podcast, EJ Christian just showed me his IQ by flicking me off.
Wow.
There's 2.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you doubled it this week.
Wow. You're number 2.
He thinks
but to your point, the 12-team
he'd bring out a third one, Kyle, but the fingers would put that to shame.
I mean, his wife wants that third one.
Calm down.
Hang on.
Yeah, calm down.
Right.
No, I think the playoff though, what it would do, it would at least eliminate all the chaos on top. Obviously, no, I'm not going to lose any sleep about teams in 15, 16, 17.
Yeah,
I'm not going to sleep about that shit. Yeah. But the teams are like 3 losses and shit.
I mean, there's still going to be, like Florida State fans might get mad that they don't get a bye in week
1. We're in. Fuck it. Who cares?
Okay, played EJ Christian.
But here's the thing, man. Like, again, thank you for interrupting. But you say that, but like, that you also have said that Florida State's not one of the best teams, but you've been mad for 3 days that they're not in the playoff. So like
Jim crying,
so like there will be people that will do that. Like, oh, we deserve to be number 4. We deserve to have a bye. We should be number 3 so that we could maybe host number 11 if they advance.
The key word though, Jim, I said it was less. No, it won't be as chaotic.
That will remain to be seen. To
EJ Christian's point, in this particular simulation, and we kind of glossed over it, that's why I'm hitting it again. You acknowledged it, Jim, but this is more for the listeners at home. The Louisville controversy in this context is eliminated. Now, I don't know if this bracket looks the same if it's built before. Actually, no, it has to be after conference championship. So never mind. Forget.
Yeah, this was as of Sunday once the rankings came out.
Yeah. Moreover, I feel compelled to point out this point. This is why we were replacing the BSC. Bobby Bowden's Seminoles get high behind a weak basketball schedule, get to the top being undefeated, and have to basically win 1 game to be a national champion, right? Deal with it, Nola. That's the facts of the case. Now, this system, the 4 playoff system, was meant to eliminate that, to inject strength of schedule, to assure that there was a quality product at the end of the year. All of that. They were successful. Everybody not named EJ on this panel acknowledges that happened. Where this panel is, again, where this 12-team playoff gets most successful is now that the G5 team could be potentially facing a 3rd-string or 2nd-string quarterback in FSU and possibly steal one. Sure, they'll probably get blown up by Alabama, but listen, that's the kind of shit that gets Gene Hackman an Academy Award nomination in Hoosiers, except it's the football version. That's all I'm saying.
I think my only issue, and it's one of my issues with the BCS system, is automatic bids under a certain threshold. Like, I understand you want to give group of 5 teams a chance. You want to give potentially, again, there's going to be outlier seasons where a Power 5 or Power 4, whatever the hell we're going to call these things after this year, conference champion that ends up below 12, below 15, below 20, like where everybody kind of beats everybody up and there's no great team in that conference. I hate an automatic bid where Liberty's number 23 and they're getting in the playoff. I get the reasoning behind it, but like one thing that I would like to see, and maybe it'll be brought up because again, this 12-team format will get retooled a bit after 2 years, is maybe set a minimum ranking threshold for automatic bids of like, hey, you can be, a conference champion, but you need to be above 20. You need to be above 15.
Jim, may I suggest, like, let's take one of the lower bowls, be it the Boca Bowl, the Cura Bowl, whatever, and make that a play-in for the 12th team.
Okay.
That G5 team.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. Like, I just, to me, again, Liberty's getting the quote-unquote luck of the draw because of the Jordan Travis injury. But, man, Nick Saban's just sitting there going, So you're basically giving Alabama a bye to the semifinals is what you're doing. Like, in reality. And, like, I hate to be that way, but it's the reality of the situation.
Well, and I think we're assuming that they don't reseed as well. Like, that's
to the best of my knowledge, they don't. I hope that they would,
because then
otherwise Michigan gets the bye to the semifinals, and then they're always right with the world.
That's some listen, because that
does any playoff system reseed aside from NFL at this point?
That I know of.
I know the NHL doesn't because they do it.
NBA does not.
Conference final.
Major League Baseball does not. MLS does not.
Don't get me started with how MLB can't get a.
Yeah, I don't. And to be honest, and if somebody in the comments or somebody knows, because I'm not going to take the time to look it up. I don't know if like all the subdivisions, if they reseed for home field, because I know they play home field up until the Final Four. So.
You have to assume, since the basketball side of a similar bracket doesn't reseed, we would probably see them follow same suit.
That's a good point as well. So yeah, I haven't seen anything that says they do. So I'm assuming they don't until proven otherwise.
That's fair.
But that's what a 12-teamer would look like next year. We will certainly get there and have all of those discussions when we do. Anything else, guys, in relation to this? I mean,
I'm done with college football.
I will say this, by the way, cry hardy there, EJ. Second, hi, Devin.
Yes, hi, Devin. Thanks for joining us. Anybody else joining us, we certainly appreciate it. Interact with us in the comments. Feel free to sound off on anything that we are talking about as we go through the show.
Serve you right, Florida State. Enjoy your tainted 1993 national championship.
Yeah, I was going to say, the one guy I feel no sympathy for that was crying about this was Danny Cannell. You were on a fraudulent.
He's a dick. No, dude. Honestly, bro, no.
Don't stop interrupting me. That's how many in this segment alone. Danny Cannell was part of a Florida State team that lost to Notre Dame and ended up as national champion above Notre Dame. I'm not ready to hear him bitch about this for one fucking second. Yes, EJ.
He was a backup, though, so fuck him.
I don't care. He was on the team. Did he turn his
got
ring down?
And for the record, I have defended for years that you guys got screwed. You know this, Jim. We discussed.
I don't know that I've ever heard you say that.
I know. I sure
hear it again.
I'm too enamored with you using the rock to defend your team as a goddamn U of M graduate.
Get over it, buddy. Get over it.
You can't handle the truth. By the way, go Heat, bitch.
Let's go to this. We usually start with it, but now we get to it. All right. Each and every week we look back at the week that was, and we decide what was the good, what was the bad, what was the ugly. Gentlemen, we'll try to move through this one a little bit quicker than we normally do. And can we try to keep the college football playoff out of the good, bad, and the ugly, since we just talked about it for 45 minutes? Okay. Matt, what was good this past weekend?
Florida State getting host. No.
Oh, man.
My good, I'm going to give it up to the Packers. We saw them get kind of that win over Detroit. People weren't really expecting, even though Detroit, though playing every Thanksgiving and usually playing tough, laid an egg this year. Thanks, Survivor Pool. Came back and beat a very good Chiefs team to kind of show that they are catching the groove, putting some things together, and moving on from the era of Jim's favorite NFL quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. So good on the Packers for showing it was not just a fluke that you went into the Motor City and got that win on Thanksgiving, but then followed it up with a win over the reigning champs.
Yeah, Packers look good, man. There's no denying that team's clicking. Yeah, they look like a team that, I mean, in the bottom portion, I don't even want to say half, but like outside of the, you know, the top couple of teams in the NFC, the Packers look to kind of be making noise as the best of that next bunch. But yeah, real big win. Big win.
Right now, I'm look at the schedule coming up too. Also, they're almost a virtual lock. Look at that schedule.
The Vikings say what?
Great. No,
Sorry, Packers fans.
That is the toughest game.
Yeah,
The Vikings game.
there's the fucking kiss of
There's
death.
the kiss of death.
Time
No, you stole my good of Matt for the record. Damn it!
time
I'm one of my goods.
9-17.
Well, I
Sorry.
was going to tee off on Florida State again, but Jim said don't use the college playoffs.
Yeah,
So
what a jerk Jim is, right?
Well, if you don't come prepared for multiple, then you're doing it wrong.
I'm good. I answer this time, and trust me, I'm good.
Kyle, what was your good from this past weekend?
The opportunity to do my Clint Eastwood voice and ask who's crying now. No, I would be remiss if I did not bring up the 49ers, making it official that each of you NFC East losers are inferior to my team. Regular season. Suck it, Marge! We said no bringing up the college football playoff. You don't get to do that.
Homer.
No, but seriously, have you seen domination like that other than perhaps the Cowboys game and the Jags game?
I'm sitting right here, motherfucker. I'm sitting right here.
I'm in the room, Kim.
I'm right here. You want me to leave? Talk shit about me behind my back?
Listen,
that's fine. I'm right here, man.
I called you a bitch on your own show, so let's be clear. I ain't
That is
afraid of
true.
you. Second, it's not
That
my
is
fault you don't have the "I hate you, Kale" wave already in your soundboard. That is a you problem. You can talk shit on my team, Kyle, but don't you dare fuck with my producing skills.
Right?
Joe Buck yourself.
I love you roasting me just as much as my good. This is great. Yeah, I don't think I have to add to that. Matt, no disrespect. It's really your other Philly fan brethren that I think deserve to have it rubbed right in their stupid faces. And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk anymore about that. EJ, what was your good from this past weekend?
Well, my good was actually Packers, but you know, since Matt was like stealing things, of course.
Cry harder, bitch.
Fuck off. No, my good actually is
right on the show, Journey.
No, my good this week actually is Jake Browning, Bengals quarterback. You know, quiet as kept. He's been serviceable from the minute Burrow went down. Now, granted, they lost that game to Baltimore. They were down already when it happened, and then of course they lose the pitcher last week. But I mean, he's been serviceable. And then this past yesterday, balled out. Best performance of the weekend.
Absolutely, and honestly, you take away a couple of boneheaded play calls by the Bengals, that game probably don't even go to overtime.
Yeah,
if we're being honest about
absolutely.
it. If they just let Browning sit back there and do what he had been doing all game, yeah, I don't know that it gets back to as close as it did.
I'll say this. Shut up, Burn. Get okay, hold on. Pull this up here so I can make
come on. Let him have this. Stop it.
I'm having it. That's all right.
Homer.
The reason why I can't let him have it is because he comes onto my show to analyze and be credible as somebody awarding superlatives on the Student of the Game podcast. Bing!
Oh, bing.
This Humpy Bumpy here knows for a fact that the Jags lost their top run guy, one of their top corners, and their top safety all in that same game too. But that being said, success is the luck of intersection. Let me try again. Success is the intersection of luck and opportunity, and Jake Browning took care of business. His first win reigned a shadow of darkness in addition to the injury, which I'm sure we'll get to it later at some point in this freaking segment. Into the Darkness, that was the Jacksonville Jaguars' first Monday night game in 1 day short of a full 12 years. That's right. 11 years and 364 days ago was the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars played on freaking Monday night. And boy, was it a worst case scenario. And Jake Browning made it happen. To your point, EJ Christian.
Yeah. And look, here's the thing with Bengals. They're 6-6 right now. Look, do I think they're going to get playoffs? No. Am I ready to cut them out? No. Because if Browning could hold the fort down with the talent around that on this team right now, anything's possible. I will still say no.
You're sitting on there, EJ.
No, because here's the reason why. I'll still say no. Their schedule is still a bitch going forward.
He's right.
Do you use lube when you sit on the fence, or is it just that comfortable at this point?
I'm leaning no. I'm not going to say.
Well, of course you're not going to say
that's
because
the whole
then
point.
You don't get to come back and say, "Well, look,
EJ,
I'm not
claiming that. There's no Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow was there, I claim that. But the fact of the matter is, Joe Burrow's not there. So
as of like 2 weeks ago, I was still banging the drum for the Jets making the playoffs.
That's a you problem. That's a you problem, buddy.
That's committing to the. They were still in the hunt, dickhead.
They lost. Must win.
They still are technically now, dick. But they're not getting in.
But more on that later, possibly. Like that. You know, there's reasons that they're not going to get in. And Zach Wilson may be the smartest guy in the room, but like, you know, but yeah, just it's okay being a fence sitter. I was once one. You
love that shit. That's
Did you use Jim?
I've recovered.
Real quick,
okay,
Kyle,
you can do it too, EJ. I believe it.
Real quick, Jim, to Kyle's point about what Mike said about the MVP. Kyle, did you see Nick Wright's quarterback mountain today?
Not yet, and now that you're building it up, I'm gonna not touch it. And
do you want to know what's on top of the mountain today?
He probably put Jake Browning because
yes, he did. Yes, he did. Ahead of Mahomes.
because he's so heavily vested in the prince that was promised, as he dubbed it. By the way, Jim, in Burns' defense in the comments, can you throw out his follow-up to his Jake Browning for MVP? That I agree with.
What
the one above that?
Yeah.
What can Browning do for you? I like it. I used to use the same thing for EJ's Dolphins, Ronnie Brown, when he was awesome doing the Wildcat. What can Browning do for you in true UPS fashion? He delivered. I'll give Burn that much credit.
That said, though, next week is Indy 7-5. Indy right now.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You
said it yourself today in the podcast.
Yeah, I totally did, actually.
You did say that. Must win. Absolutely must win.
It's the first time you've got one of those right.
Oh, shit. Jim agrees.
First time. Because I would agree with that, because that probably does bury their chances with only a couple of weeks to go after that.
Yeah. By the way, EJ, that was very funny. You even said it. Yeah, no, I totally did.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right.
I need a cloak.
No, but yeah, I mean, they have winnable games.
Must-win games, and you're going to get one of them right for sure.
They have a winnable schedule: Indy, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, KC, and Cleveland. There's 4 definite winnable games there. Definite winnable games. So,
but are you dissing Mitchell Trubisky? See what I did there?
I see what you did.
Much better than other alternatives.
Trubisky or whatever the hell his name is.
I retired that already. I retired that one.
You apparently retired your whole soundboard if you listen to your show.
Was that now?
I said you've apparently retired your whole soundboard if you listen to your show.
I'm talking about Trubisky. I retired.
Oh, well, good. You should retire that F word completely.
Yeah.
My good from this past weekend, and it's a real quick, and I'll play the sounder because I'm not afraid to admit it like Kyle is. Dallas is a 14-game home winning streak. It's the second longest in franchise history. Obviously, I hope they'll continue it this weekend. We won't be predicting that game because, again, we predicted it earlier this year. There's no sense in half the panel.
Jim's way.
But hopefully we will see.
That's what fear looks like, fence sitter. Anyways,
what's that?
I said that's what fear looks like, fence sitter.
What? Okay, so I picked the Cowboys to win. Matt, you picked the Eagles to win. EJ, Cowboys or Eagles? We know you're a Cowboys fan. Yes, go ahead. So he picks the Cowboys. Kyle, how about you?
America wants to hear my choice. That's the thing, Jim.
America.
All right. The bad from this past weekend, Kyle. What was your bad? Well, I do want to say Devin, he goes full homer on his.
Homer.
As usual, he says his good is the Dolphins possibly.
Yeah, my bad is Dolphins thinking they're actually a legitimate shot at being a damn candidate. That's adorable.
Right now, that was one seed at AFC now. But
that's adorable, EJ Christian. You dismissed it on your.
It's not like there's 5 weeks left in the season.
I see what you did there, AJ.
Hey, when you're a Dolphins fan, you've had very little hope over your life, so let him have this now.
No. I listen. I'm joking with Devin. I am not mad at him taking advantage of the scraps. That is fine.
You're bad.
The good, or excuse me, the bad for me. It's, you could call it homer in the standpoint that it might impact how many playoff games I cover in the NFL postseason. But Trevor Lawrence's injury, man, that's rough as hell, dude.
Yeah.
And I touched on it earlier, right? The first Monday night game I mentioned, by the way, since in that time span, that nearly 12 years I mentioned, every other of the 31 NFL franchises, meaning the other teams of which EJ is a fan of in total, they have all gotten at least 8 Monday night appearances. The Jags had not over almost 12 bleeping years. And they get this opportunity, and that's what happens. I
mean, to be fair, they host 6 London games a year.
I was going to say that. I was just going to
say
that.
Put one on Monday night, bitches. Next question. But
2 a.m. game in London.
But no, listen. Joking aside, that it's not the fact that the Trevor's injury is bad enough with the high ankle sprain and all of that. The list of injuries I talked about earlier: Andre Cisco, Walker Little. Oh, I didn't even mention Walker Little before. Andre Cisco, Walker Little, Christian Kirk, Trey Herndon.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I mean, injuries as a whole. I mean, Kenny Pickett out possibly multiple weeks. Tank Dell out for the remainder of the season. It is just another week in this NFL season where injuries were a major part of the storyline, and you certainly do hate to see that. EJ, what was your bad from this past week?
My bad this week, and it's been bad for the last couple of weeks actually, is Seattle Seahawks. They lost 4 in a row now. The playoffs started today. They're out. And I told you guys last Thursday that was a must win. You laughed at me when I said that. And here's why now.
Stop it.
I'm not done yet.
You're wrong. Listen,
I'm not done yet. All right. Lose to Dallas right as is. This week, who you play? The Niners. Good luck. Week after that, the Eagles. Good luck. So you'll be 6-8 by the time it's all said and done. Meanwhile, Rams surging. Packers surging right now. Yeah. You got 2 spots left in the wild card.
Did the Seahawks look bad though in that loss?
No, they
played okay.
Right.
Played okay. It was
they
a 4-point win for
if
the
not
Cowboys.
for a breadbasket drop by Lockett, right?
It's the Cowboys.
Let me ask the Cowboy fan on the panel that's not EJ Christian, Jim. Did Geno Smith, do you sympathize with him as being the Tony Romo in this exchange, losing to Peyton Manning, essentially?
I did like that analogy. I also hated that you brought up that game, but I like the analogy.
I didn't do it to hurt you.
No, I get it, but sometimes it still hurts, Kyle. Okay,
you hug you cuddly.
Sometimes sometimes pain.
I think my larger point though is that you have the combination of those teams surging, them not playing well. They don't have the Rams tiebreaker is gone because they lost twice to the Rams this year. So these combination of things now it's going to get tough. They have to win these 2 games to stay in it. I don't see the Packers losing another game, really, more than 1 game the rest of the year. Look at their schedule.
I mean,
so
yes,
they
have an easy schedule, but over the course of this season, to just assume that a team that is 6-6 is going to run the table 5 more games, which would give them 8 wins in a row, is a bold fucking play.
I'm not saying they're going to, but I'm saying that even if they
almost
even they lose 1 more game rest of the way.
You implied the shit out of it, though.
So they're playing the Ravens this week. The Rams are loss.
Probably I'm sorry, Matt. Hold on. We were talking about the Packers. He's basically locking the Packers in, right? So but even the Packers, they've won 3 in a row, and they have probably the easiest road the rest of the way. But again, to assume that a team is going to win 8 games in a row, who is 6-6 to start this year, is a bold claim.
This is why we do this show, buddy.
Right. Well, exactly. But this is the argument against must win. That's literally what we're doing right now. Matt, the Rams schedule.
They played the Ravens this week, loss. play the Commanders. They play the number 1 seed Saints right after that.
Calm your ass down,
probably
buddy.
another
Calm your
loss.
ass down there.
Shut your ass.
They beat the Giants, and then they close against the Niners.
Don't count out Tommy Mozzarella, dude. That dude's got this team jonesing.
The team that you need to watch, the form more is Minnesota. I think Green Bay's taking out.
Stop it.
Minnesota's the team. No. That's the team they need. That I think will have to fall back. I think honestly.
Right, but the Rams could also fall back. Matt just proved that point.
EJ, there's 4 6-6 teams, and you're saying that one of them season is done.
4 6 teams. I'm not saying they're done. I'm not saying it's a must win.
Well, you're not saying they're done because that would be like choosing an actual.
So the Vikings,
yeah, exactly. You know how this works, man. Come on. Now.
The Vikings they play against the Raiders this weekend, who's been a much better team since eradicating Josh McDaniels.
And Josh Dobbs has thrown 4 picks, losing 12-10. What was it to the goddamn Bears?
Yeah, the Vikings have lost back-to-back to Denver and Chicago before the bye. They only beat the Saints by 7.
Well,
they only beat
the number 1 seed
by
Saints.
3. Well, that's true. I shouldn't disrespect.
But
they hold on. But they play the Raiders. They play the Bengals, who we were just talking about, are still alive in a playoff hunt with a good team. They play the Lions. They play the Packers, and they play the Lions.
It's the Vikings, right?
That's the Vikings.
That's what I said. I said the Vikings is the team that I think.
Right, but that's literally the point as to why the Seattle game wasn't a must-win. Was it a big game for them? Yes. Would it have been better for them in the long run to beat Dallas? Absolutely. Was it a must-win?
My point was.
No.
But Jim, my point was Minnesota is a team likely of the 3 wildcard teams right now in the NFC, likely to come down of the 3. I have Green Bay in there.
Okay,
I'm about to lock them up in a second.
Remember,
I'm just saying
he's calling them winning.
Maybe an hour, Matt. Shut the fuck up. No, but Minnesota's a team that if they come down, then there's Seattle's chance to get the 7 seed. Green Bay, I think, is at a point now that they beat Detroit.
Let's even count Green Bay in. So then you have the Rams, who, they've been playing better over the past couple of weeks against bad competition.
And EJ's left out his best point.
They beat Flacco this past week. Congratulations.
EJ's left out his best point that the Rams do hold the tiebreak thanks to a single-point win over the Seahawks as well with the 2-0 sweep.
I said it earlier, and I got laughed at. So
no, that I'm not denying that, but the reason I'm just talking out the reasoning behind a must win. The Seahawks still have a good shot of getting into a playoff spot. They do.
The reason I said the must win on against Dallas
because you overused the term.
No, listen, no. Because if they win that game against Dallas, you can offset one if not both losses against San Francisco and Philadelphia.
Okay, and now, yes, I understand that Trent Williams was hurt when it happened, but San Francisco did lose 3 games in a row this year, right?
Back
to Cleveland, to Minnesota, and to Cincinnati. Okay, they lost 3 in a row. What's there to say if Trent Williams doesn't get hurt? I'm not wishing it into, but
you son of a bitch.
I'm just saying, what did happen?
I mean,
the Eagles lost to the Jets. The Eagles lost to Zach Wilson.
Okay, what if?
Without Lane Johnson.
We still play the games, obviously. I mean, all we do is obliviating here at the end of the day. I'm just saying, optics-wise, it looks bad.
What you mean, us, Kimasabi? What the fuck?
And EJ, you're also the guy that talks about divisional matchups and how they can get weird, right?
Yeah, they played last week and they got blown out against the same team at home.
Okay, so that's not this week, though, right?
It's
in San Francisco. It's in San Francisco, buddy. God bless you.
And Trent Williams is playing. Yeah. By the way, quick point. I'm glad you mentioned Lane Johnson. I forgot to. Part of the reason why the gap in that game, Niners-Eagles, was so big was because Lane Johnson was out. I want to acknowledge the shit out of that. Lane Johnson is not only a great interview, he's an awesome player. Continue.
Yeah. My bigger point, EJ, is I may have agreed with you if you weren't the boy that cried must win. That's all I'm saying.
That's the boy that cried rap.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Just think about your words sometimes. Matt, what was your bet this past weekend, Matt?
I'm going to give him my bad. I think I gave him my ugly last year, but now they're getting their bad because they are the first team officially eliminated from playoff contention.
Oh,
my frisky Panthers. I mean, there's no catching up to the number 1 seed in the NFC, the New Orleans Saints, but They still had some life left. You thought maybe firing the coach again would give you some sort of breath of fresh air. Didn't work out quite that way. 1-11 Carolina Panthers, wasting a lot of talent, I guess we can call it, on that team. But a very sad sight to see a division that was pretty much up for grabs behind the Saints.
Of
You
course. I mean,
you can fight for a wild card spot pretty well in that division, and they just let a season entirely go to waste.
One Mike, I did see in the comments here, circling back to the Seahawks argument that I'm not saying it will happen. I don't think it happens as much in the NFL, but San Francisco coming off, a big emotional game against the Eagles. Is this a bit of a trap game, so to speak?
It's a trap
with Seattle. So Admiral Akbar is lurking somewhere, I am sure. My bad from this past weekend, and I think the news report started to break Sunday afternoon, was that Roger Goodell wants to ban the Eagles version of the quarterback sneak. Like I've said all year, am I going to be mad if the Eagles don't automatically get first downs and touchdowns anymore? I'm probably not going to cry about it. But if they ban this play, it just furthers the reputation of the no fun league, because what the hell are we doing?
By the way, I know secretly you hope that ban happens so you could see Unhinged Kyle on your show again.
I mean, it is good for ratings, Kyle.
What's the case to ban it though? What is the case?
It's not fair
because everybody's bitching about it.
It's dangerous.
Ultimately, that's the reasoning, I bet, behind it.
Everybody's bitching about it as they try it themselves.
Right, and they fail because they don't have Jason Kelsey and a guy who can fucking deadlift 600 pounds.
I'll say this. Before he got hurt, Trevor Lawrence delivered on it on 2 separate occasions in that Monday night game. And that's the closest to real success I've seen. By the way, we're going to be hearing more about somebody on that offensive line and later in the conclusion of the season as we start doing superlatives on this committee. I'm not going to let too much out of the bag. I'm spoiling here, but if you guys remember context from our group message, you'll probably know what I'm alluding to.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's been a couple teams who have tried to stop it. I mean, well, everybody's tried to stop it. A few teams have successfully stopped it. A lot of teams have tried to replicate it. Very few have been able to do it even once, much less repeatedly. So, yeah, I think it's a fucking joke if it does end up getting banned. Like I've said since people started talking about it, either you have people getting paid how many millions of dollars to play a game. You're seeing people get paid a lot of money to coach the game, figure out how to run it, figure out how to stop it.
And to build rosters to stop it, Jim.
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like the Wildcat. When the Wildcat first came to be, like people's heads exploded. Then teams figured out how to run it and how to stop it. And then it just...
speaking of what can Brown do for you? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Mike said his bad, and we'll just gloss over quickly the entire ACC title game. All right, let's go.
Not great, Bob.
Let's go to
not great, Bob.
The uglies. EJ, what was your ugly from this past weekend?
My ugly is anyone who had to spend 3 hours watching that damn Chargers Patriots game this past Sunday.
Woo!
Oh my!
You know who lost that game, EJ?
America.
There you go.
Terrible game. That's all I gotta say about that.
Horrible. Like what? Oh my God. What are we doing? What is just what the fuck are we? I don't even care that they won the game. How the hell did Brandon Staley get on that plane back to
Thank you.
Man, just Lane Kiffin him, man. Just leave him on the tarmac. What are we doing? Matt,
you bust a little
hey, at least he didn't launch him into the sun, fellas. Anyways,
I mean, you can join Kellen Moore. Matt, what was your ugly?
I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Arizona Cardinals game, not just because of the weather that I'm sure was really fun for the fans to sit through and then come back out and watch their team lose to a team that's actively trying to tank, lose possibly your starting quarterback. But I said it to my wife while we were watching the game, and this kind of comes to Jim's point about the tush push, is the thing that drives me crazy watching NFL and college offenses is when it's 4th and 1 and you're operating out of the shotgun. What the fuck are you doing?
Why are we doing? What are we doing here?
You need 1 yard. Why are you starting 4 yards behind that? And we saw that happen. No conversion on a goal line stand where a very easy, apparently, play like the tush push would have been able to get them in. Sorry, apologize. The brotherly shove.
Much better. I'll take that over that shit. It's a quarterback sneak. Even your own Hall of Fame caliber center knows that shit.
Correct. So why are we taking that play and trying to outlaw it and instead see more failures to convert on 4th down? Apparently, Goodell doesn't like seeing points scored in offense since that's what we're trying to take out of the game.
Which is weird because defenses can't literally do anything in this league anymore. Kyle, what was your ugly from this past weekend?
As a quick aside here on the panel, I know our guy Matt is a baseball person who allegedly pods baseball. When you asked that, what are we doing here? I thought of Brad Pitt from Moneyball. What the fuck are we doing? Like that I'm with you, buddy. However,
I have a
that would be gold. While you're
What the hell's going on out here?
I don't have the Moneyball one, but
no one's brain should come down on the Lombardi drop. That's fine. Okay. Anyways, for me, the fraud cons actually declaring that they won an NFL game, taking out former UConn quarterback Tim Boyle by 5 fucking points. What in the entire shit are we doing? Not just with the Atlanta fraud cons, but the entirety of the NFC fucking South.
Well, they're all playing catch up, Kyle, to the Saints.
Oh, shit.
Thing sucks.
Well played, Matt. You got me good on that one. I was shoot. I'm mad at me. I should have seen that coming.
Should have. Yeah, bad, real bad. EJ, what was your ugly from this past weekend?
I gave it to you.
Oh, that's right. You did start it off.
Mine
is the Jets quarterback situation, man.
Oh,
God.
You saw that and raised me. He's not wrong.
Rodgers, of course, injured. Zach Wilson, tried and failed behind that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Boyle failed. I forget who's even behind Boyle. Who was Trevor Siemian?
Apparently not good enough because they want to bring Wilson back, right?
Failed.
They
released Boyle and are bringing in Brett Rippon.
What?
They're bringing in Brett Rippon.
That is an upgrade.
They want Zach Wilson back. Zach Wilson reportedly has
Said, "Nah,
basically
fam."
told them to get bent, and I don't blame him. Like, if you told me 2 weeks ago that Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian were better, no, don't come crawling back to me now. Go F yourself.
Hey, Jim, do you believe the report? Do you believe that report about Wilson? Do you believe it?
I mean, I guess it's possible. I mean, here's the deal, man. That offensive line's the fucking liability. And I know we talked about that before the season.
Correct.
And I don't blame, whether if it is true, good on him for being like, nah, fam, I'm out.
By the way, Jim, don't we have a sound bite if Joe Buck were the one that reported Zach Wilson's response?
Oh, we do. Absolutely.
Joe Buck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no problem if it is true. Robert Saleh has said it's not. He said that if Zach Wilson didn't want to play or refused to play, that he wouldn't be on the team anymore. Like, it is just, man.
You hope that's true.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, Robert Saleh would completely cop to that shit if it were false. Antoine Staley would no way have a quote out there if that were the case.
It just, whatever the situation is, somebody's not telling the truth where these reports are coming from. It's brutal. Like, you thought week 1, 3 plays in on a rainy Monday in East Rutherford was going to be the low point. It just keeps getting worse for the Jets. You're getting outshined by Tommy Mozzarella that plays in the same stadium. Like, my God, it's brutal.
By the way, Jim, credit to you and your continued classiness in mentioning Aaron's injury and not hitting the allegedly button. That would be that's classy by you.
I mean, he has always been a very honest person, so we can take him at his word. Mike's ugly was Twitter at 12:33 p.m. on Sunday. Yeah, no, that's accurate. It definitely did get pretty ugly there when the playoff ring.
I can't take anymore.
Well done, sir. All right,
I'll be right back, guys. That phone call coming in. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Here's the call.
Mike, I swear I thought we were gonna make it. I'll let him get that in the playback tomorrow. All right, let's go this weekend. Just because the playoff matchups are set does not mean there's not a college football game to predict. Of course, we know what the deal is. It is America's game, as they call it, the 124th meeting of Army and Navy this Saturday, 3:00 Eastern time on CBS from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. A little backstory on the series. Navy leads the series 62, 54, and 7. The largest margin of victory in the series is a 51-0 win by Navy in 1973. The longest winning streak was 14 by Navy from 2002 to 2015. The current win streak is Army. They won last year. So we will see what happens. But Army is 5-6, 2.5 point favorite over 5-6 Navy. The uniforms for this one pretty sharp as they have been over recent years. You're over under, no surprise on this one, 27.5. Kyle, what do you got?
I'm tempted to still take the damn under, but I'm not willing to. Go ahead and cue up the Homer button in honor of Alex Funderburk.
Homer.
Former UCF communications employee. I will pick Army, as he's now working there, getting his dream job. Shout to him. I know this is months ago, but still shouts to my dude Alex. I actually worked with him in UCF's press box back when he was a freshman. That should tell you everything you need to know. So yeah, I got Army. I have the EJ formula. Slight over.
There you go. You are in the EJ spot. Matt.
I always pull for Navy as long as they're not playing Notre Dame, so I will do so in this instance as well. Give me the 2.5 points. I will take the over on this one.
Is it a slight over, Matt?
A slight over.
Okay,
30 points total.
I think the weather in the Northeast this weekend looks pretty good. I know the last couple matchups we've had a lot of rain, a lot of ugliness. I think that's supposed to hold off until Sunday.
Yeah, if it rains, tear up your ticket.
Yeah, just you know what? Forget it. Just watch the game. But I will take a slight over as well. And I'll go Navy. When those uniforms hit, the submarine uniforms, the hand painted waves, and all that, those are the sharper of the two. Both are quality. But I'll take Navy in this one to go back on the other side of the rivalry.
With Devin's pick, I'm the only one that's not screaming out anchors away, bitches.
There you go. Devin picking the Navy as well. So I'm going to switch mine over to Army.
Yeah, please.
I'm kidding, Devin.
It wasn't EJ. He knows.
No, I know. That's a bit we run back on 3-count pay-per-view predictions as well. So it is nothing against Devin. He knows we love him for sure, and we certainly.
Oh, I knew it was a joke again when it wasn't EJ. We're fine.
That's the joke.
All right, we moved to week 14 in the National Football League, and I think we have finally hit the last week of buys. I didn't know there were actually still bye weeks left, but there are. Nobody's going to miss them. The Cardinals and the Commanders are not playing this weekend. So, hey, they can't lose. All right, let's go to Sunday, 1:00 on CBS, a game that could probably about lock up the NFC South if you're the Atlanta Fraud Cons. How embarrassing is that? The 5-7 Buccaneers travel to Atlanta, who is 6-6, 2.5 point favorite for the home team, and 39 is your over under. Kyle, I'll start with you.
I'll take a slight under here to lead without knowing exactly Baker Mayfield's health status. I'm going to take the Fraud Cons, expecting to be led down because, again, please see the name of the team in question. And yeah, regardless of the points, I'm not very confident in Baker Mayfield. I see the Fraud Cons handling the business they need to.
Confident in either of these teams should not be words that are used together.
I'll quote it for you, sir.
Yeah, unless you're saying I am not confident in either of these teams. That's the only time that word should
I am more confident than the alternative. How about that?
Or if you're talking about losing, be like, I am confident that the Buccaneers and the Falcons can lose this week.
I mean, I was confident in Tim Boyle losing to them. I just didn't think it'd be only by 5 fucking points.
It is embarrassing. Matt, go ahead.
I'm definitely going to take the under on this, regardless of the QB situation in Tampa Bay. But I will also take the fraud cons, just because that 5-point victory over the Jets kept me alive in my survivor pool.
There you go.
I figured it was a good time to use my fraud cons pick in the survivor pool, and they didn't let me down.
Mad respect for you on that, Matt.
I went out in my survivor pool in week 2, so the fact that anyone is still alive at this
we get
point,
2 strikes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine was one and done. There was one year I did one where we had a one-time buyback, and I was out in 3 weeks.
Jesus.
I went out in week 1, bought back, got one in week 2, and then lost in week 3. So
that's even worse, because in week 2 you got your hopes back up. Here we go, bitches.
No, it's like, look, back on track, baby. I'm an extra 10 down, but we're fine. And nope, that just
you can't even play Bon Jovi on that one.
Yeah, just brutal. Yeah, look, both these teams suck. But I guess the fraud cons suck less because they're at home, I guess. Sure, let's go with that. The NFC South's embarrassing.
Behind the Saints. Oh, he's not even here.
Obviously, they're the number 1 team.
He'll get it in the playback. You're okay, man.
I'll take Atlanta even to cover. 2.5 is such a small number. And I'll take an under because I don't believe in either of these offenses. Devin has Atlanta in the under as well.
Give me those fantasy points, Koo.
Yeah, I mean, I could go for some Bijan Robinson fantasy.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Can hope. Can I have hope, please? I
You're
need
a
hope.
Cowboys fan. I thought you'd learn this shit by now.
Well, I'm also an idiot, Kyle.
I didn't want it to go that dark. Damn it, Jim.
The 8-4 Jaguars are a 3-point road favorite at 7-5. The Joe Flacco led Browns, I still believe, because it's 2023 allegedly. 31 is your over under on this one. Sunday, 1:00 on CBS. Matt.
I mean, I can't put stock in a Joe Flacco-led team, regardless of the QB situation in Jacksonville. I know it's a high ankle sprain and probably week to week, likely not playing this week, but I will still take the Jags to win, to cover, and I will take the under on this one.
All right, Kyle.
Jim, I heard you right. 7.5 points. Did I not?
No, sorry, a 3-point favorite for Jacksonville.
Oh.
The Browns are 7-5. Maybe that's where you heard the 7-5.
Okay. I feel better. Okay.
Which is also surprising.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The defense, though.
The defense very good.
The defense is amazing, and all I'm getting is the home field advantage points. Listen, I hear what you're saying about doubting Joe Flacco. Goodness knows I do, and we have a very, let's just say, sports crazy person in our lives that once thought Joe Flacco was elite, much to his chagrin, as he would find out later. But the punchline being this. I still believe Joe Flacco's an upgrade to the alternative once they've brought it in. And we've seen what this team has done without God knows what at quarterback. And it's not that I doubt CJ Beathard per se at the helm for the Jags. It's everything else that they don't have. And that defense for the Browns is dangerous AF. I would argue they might be the most underrated in the league currently. And getting the Matt seal of approval there only improves my point. I'm going to take the under. And you know what? I think they get CJ Beathard to turn the ball over. I feel like the offensive line is going to be further exposed beyond what they were in that Monday night game. If it wasn't for that Taj Boyd interception, the Jags may have not made it to overtime. Yeah. And they're missing a lot of pieces on defense. I'm a little scared that they will not beat them by the full 3 points. I have the Browns with the points.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I think the smart play is the under. on this one for sure.
Yeah.
With the Browns offensive situation, the Jaguars offensive situation, and
defense, frankly.
And both teams' defenses are very good. Like even if beat up on the Jaguars side, still a very good defense with a Joe Flacco led offense on the other side. Like, let's be fair, the man was cement feet when he was quote elite. Like, let's call the spade a spade, right?
Elite Flacco. That's funny.
But I think the Jaguars are the better team, and again, without the knowledge of if Trevor Lawrence is playing, what we know that Christian Kirk is out. I believe that's already been declared.
Yes, is Christian Kirk's out, and who I believe Herndon is marked as missing as well.
Yeah, like there's a lot of important pieces on that Jaguars team. So I'm definitely going to take the Browns to cover. I wouldn't be surprised to see them win again in a close one. I also, again, I know the weather in Pennsylvania is going to be pretty ugly or forecasted to be ugly on Sunday. I don't know what the forecast is going to be in Cleveland.
It's going to be ugly. It's Cleveland.
Well, I mean, yes, they did have a river that caught on fire once. So ugly is the key word. But yeah, it's December in Cleveland. It's probably not going to be great. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them win. But I would definitely take the under. EJ, we are picking Jacksonville 3-point favorite at Cleveland. 31 is your over under.
31 is over. It's so low. I'll go over, slide over. But give me Cleveland. Slight cover there as well.
All right, and we did pick Tampa Bay at 6-6. Atlanta's a 2.5 point home favorite with 39 as your over under.
I'll take Atlanta to cover. But definitely bet the under. Definitely bet the under this one.
Okay. All right.
Real quick thing that should be worth adding for the Jags and the confusion as to whether Trevor Lawrence is starting, Jim. The last time he suffered an ankle sprain earlier this year, a high ankle sprain earlier this year on a short week for a Thursday, he's not only did he start the damn game, Jim, against the New Orleans Saints, which they eventually won, he led the team in rushing. So I can see why there's some confusion there. My personal opinion, don't touch the goddamn spread. Bet that slight over that I handed you.
All right. Next one we have. I mean, this is as much of a must-win game as I can see on our schedule. The 6-6 Vikings, they are a 3-point road favorite at 5-7. Las Vegas 40.5 is your over/under on this one. Sunday 4:05 Eastern time on Fox. EJ, I'll start with you.
First of all, this schedule to get these games are getting this rough, huh? Huh, Jim?
I'm trying to pick games with playoff implications.
No, of course.
But
of course.
Man,
when
I said earlier this year that there was more bad football than good football, I wasn't lying.
No, I'll take the over in this game. You know what? Give me Minnesota to cover. I'll bounce back here off a bye week.
There goes the Minnesota homer, hard at work again.
Okay, where's
Listen, bad EJ. It's not as good as your Donald Trump, but it's pretty.
That is good. Minnesota. There you go.
I do the best horn impressions.
Yeah.
First of all, God, stay away from this trash. Just make sure you bet the over because both defenses are inept AF. No offense to Starks there, of course, on the Raiders defensive line. He'll be traded away at some point to retool that team. Josh Dobbs confuses me at this point. I don't know what the F to think. The only thing more confusing is the Raiders quarterback situation. So by extension, I will back EJ's play on the Vikings just because I don't know what the F else to do. Allegedly, Justin Jefferson making an appearance in this game, that could be a factor as well.
Yeah, I would say he was activated last week. So
correct. So and then that I don't need anything else. That's why I'm going with the Vikings because F this game. I'm not watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see what's on the red zone, and that's about it. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take the Vikings in this one just because I want to see the two Raiders fans I know get upset. And I will.
I mean, I can't harp on the logic, man.
I will take the over in this one. Slide over.
I will. Yeah, I'll take a slide over in this one. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna take the Raiders just to prove my point further that it wasn't a must-win game for the Seahawks.
I hate you so much, Jim.
No matter what happens, somebody wins on the spite take. I'm not
Hey,
mad
EJ.
at
Right.
Go buck
Oh,
yourself.
damn.
Wow. Jim, that's 129. I'll put it in the private chat. That's the 129 mark for you.
TikTok right there, buddy.
Perfect. Then we go Sunday, 4:25 Eastern time on CBS. It is the 6-6 Bills, must win. At 8-4 Kansas City, who is a 2.5-point home favorite. 47.5 is your over under. Kyle, we'll start with you.
In AJ's defense, if they want the AFC East, they're starting to get into that must-win territory.
Yeah, I know. Again, we're with 4 or 5 games after this. 4 games after this, you are starting to eke into that territory for some teams. Not in week 1. But Kyle, go ahead.
Right, and well, as Matt pointed out, if you have 300,462 must-win games, you're going to hit on one eventually. I'm just voicing that should EJ decide to declare this one, he might not be as dumb as with the other ones. But what I'm trying to say is this: the whole reason the Chiefs lost to Jordan. I don't love pointing this out. See what I did there? But that was obviously an Admiral Akbar game. Looking forward to this Bills game, which was circled on calendars. Say what you will about, and Jim has, about the Bills being a Jekyll and Hyde style team. This is a personal game that I think the Chiefs want to lock down. Give me Patrick LaVon Mahomes II and Travis Michael Kelce. I would assume they're the favorites. Give them to cover, and because the Chiefs are a defensive team and the rest of the nation still hasn't figured it out yet, give me the under.
Yeah, the Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites in this one. Matt, go ahead.
My first question is, why wasn't this game flexed to Monday night in favor of the other two?
Really why are there 2 Monday night games this week?
Yeah, why? Yeah, thank you.
Is that just like a new NFL? And they start at the same time. Like, I'm very confused.
Well, and it's the whole reason.
Yells at Cloud. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
It's the whole thing too, where they're starting to get Friday games involved too. When the college football season ends, they're trying to cram in as much time as they can.
But 2 Monday night games though, 2.
I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just telling you what's happening.
The weird part though is at the same time though.
This is not the first time they've scheduled a conflict on Monday night. They did it to open the season too.
Like
well, yeah, but they used to do staggered starts,
New
though.
York.
Like the opening week, they used to do like a 6:30 and a 10 o'clock game. So like,
right.
Yeah, this one it's like they're both starting together. It just
and this season they did it to where the second one started in the middle of the first. I get what you're saying. It used to be a true doubleheader. Listen, I know I'm not a baseball guy, but I understand what a doubleheader is. They're not doing it like that here.
My only question is that are they doing a Manning cast where they're going to be watching both games? Because that's the real money ticket right there.
You're not wrong.
Like that.
Anyway, give me the Chiefs. Give me the under.
I got it. They're giving Eli Manning the excuse to not watch a shitty old team. That would be awful if we had a Giants fan on this panel. He'd be pissed.
That would suck. EJ, go ahead. Bills, Chiefs.
This has like eerie feelings of the Eagles Bills game from 2 weeks ago with the spread. Again, Vegas likes Buffalo here. 2.5 points.
I don't
think they
like them, EJ. Not to cut you off. I don't think they like them. I just don't think they know what the fuck to think, buddy.
Yeah. Well, the fact that typically home teams get the usual 3-point favorite, but it's a half point the other way. Like,
well, and I don't think that's the wise guys. I think that's people overreacting to the Jordan Love loss.
Well, right. I'm gonna say this. Give me KC. They turn things around starting this week.
Nice.
And you know what? Even with that, give me the over as well too. I think the KC offense gets better this week.
Slide over. All
right. Maybe slide over. Yeah. Yeah, slide over.
Bills are coming off a bye too, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
they had the bye.
That's a factor.
Yeah. Look, I think it'll be close for a half, and then the Bills are going to bill. Like it's just, I know I beat it to death. Call it the Pitt Notre Dame and triple overtime thing for me, but but like it's who the Bills are. They can't finish games, especially against better teams. So maybe they even take a lead at halftime, and then they're going to fall apart. Chiefs plus, and I will take a over. Slight.
I know you took a shot at me, and I goddamn loved it. That was great.
I know. I'm good at what I do.
You are.
Jason checks in the comments. He says, how about them Niners? He weighs in on the NFC East matchup this Sunday. He says he takes the Cowboys as much as he hates them over the Eagles. He's Purdy over Dak for MVP so far. The correct answer for MVP is Tyreek Hill.
There we go. Thank you.
Let's just leave it at that. Yeah. Look, I have said, and I'll say it again, that if Dak can play through this closing stretch the way he has leading up to this closing stretch, he should be in the conversation. I'm not saying you lock him in because I still need to see what Tyreek Hill's going to do over the last month and a half of the season, but I think he should at least be in the conversation because he has played really, really well. Again, limited tape against good teams, but what sits in front of them sits in front of them. So,
by the way, and since you addressed your Cowboys, I'll address air quotes my Niners. Brock Purdy is not even the MVP of his own fucking squad. That would be Christian McCaffrey. Shall we continue?
Yeah. So if you want to crown somebody from the Niners, do so correctly. But
Bird agrees. He said as much in the midseason awards for the student of the game.
Bing! All right, gentlemen, we've come to that point of the show. You know what time it is? I love how the dance it's the same but different every week. That's my favorite part. It really, really is.
I'm a little happier this week because I know EJ's compelled to do the right goddamn thing.
Kyle, look right. No,
for those that typically only listen to our show on the podcast side, you should at least go to Facebook, to YouTube, to Twitch, and see Kyle's
watch the video version
when the music hits. That's the best part. But for those that are listening, this is where we do EJ's top 10, bottom 5 power rankings each and every week. EJ, start us on the bottom 5, please.
Same as last week. No changes. Bears 28, Giants 29, Commanders 30, Pats 31, Panthers 32.
Jim, I know this isn't college, but can we get a hit the clat, please?
And rightly so.
Good work, sir.
There you go.
So last week I had the Jets at 28, Giants 29, Commanders, Patriots, Panthers. I actually swapped the Jets and the Giants.
Okay.
Not because the Giants got that much better, but I feel like the Jets have actually gotten that much worse.
With Tim Boyle at quarterback.
No, because they released Tim Boyle and think Brett Rippon is the option.
He's an upgrade over Tim Boyle.
That's he is a son of a Super Bowl MVP though.
Also accurate.
Cool.
Also,
so was Chris Sims. Doesn't make him good.
Also, won college football games, which Tim Boyle did not do.
I mean, yeah. My dad's an architect, and I can't draw a straight line. What the hell's your point?
That's a you problem, Jimmy.
I'm just saying, doesn't mean that having a good dad at something doesn't mean that you're good at it too.
That's true.
That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I have no issue. Those 5 teams suck. Yeah. I have no issue with the bottom 5.
Maybe the Cardinals instead of the Bears, but I'm not going to argue that.
They won this week. It's Pittsburgh though.
Is that a brag?
That's a big one.
I'm still in Pittsburgh.
I'm not trying to be an asshole, except I am trying to be an asshole. That's not a brag.
I guess that defense, though, I mean, they look better with Kyler Murray back, though. I will say that. They look very good with Kyler Murray.
Is that a slight?
Very good.
Slight, yeah.
All right, EJ, your top 10.
All right, top 10. We got a newcomer here. The Packers, number 10. Number 9, the Texans. Number 8, the Jags. 7, Dolphins. 6, Lions. 5, Cowboys. 4, Chiefs. 3, Ravens. 2, Eagles. 1, Niners. So the Jags is interesting because, like, I don't know if Trevor's playing or not.
Yeah.
So I'm on a holding pattern at this point now. So,
yeah.
Last week I had Houston. No, not Houston. I had Pittsburgh and Denver last week. Remember?
You awfully dissed the Texans again. By the way, at least you didn't have them in the bottom 5 at this point, but you have rectified that error, it would seem.
Right. I got Green Bay in there for a couple of reasons. Number one, the last 2 wins, not just 2. They won 3 in a row, number 1, but the last 2 wins in Detroit and against the champs, Kansas City. Got to reward that. And their schedule moving forward. I'm also projecting them to do very well the last 5 weeks of the year, so I'm putting them number 10. Other than that, I mean, the Chiefs fell in a spot, but again, they're weird. Cowboys, Eagles will know.
I have the Chiefs at 5. You can call me a homer, but I have the Cowboys over the Chiefs.
Homer.
Cowboys, if they win
Homer.
this week, obviously, we'll have a lot to say about that going forward. So a lot of these things.
Honestly, to me, the Chiefs at 5 and the Cowboys above them is more about what I still think the Chiefs are, and as opposed to what the Cowboys are.
For the record, I don't hate it, Jim. For the record, I don't hate it, but we'll see this week how they do against the Eagles on Sunday Night Football.
Otherwise, I have the Packers and the Texans flipped.
Okay.
If they played this Sunday, I would pick the Packers to win. But it would be close. It would be close. I feel like, we're not allowed to do 9A and 9B, so that's why I have the Packers.
Well, it's your show. You do what you want.
No.
That's the thing. God damn it, Jim.
I had to get Kyle angry at least a little bit on the show.
See,
EJ, you need to get on his case because I want to jump in here and talk about this might be the best top 10 you've had to the back half of the season. The only thing a slight nitpick.
Yeah.
I don't think the Cowboys at 5 sounds wrong.
Too high, too low.
Right. They should be 4.
Slight low. No, sir. They should be below the Lions today.
Okay.
In my opinion. Now, granted, you do have a bit of a cluster, that 4, 5, 6. If you were left to your own devices and Jim was a horrible host, he would let you get away with 4A, 4B, and 4C for those 3 teams.
Right. He's a good host, so you won't do that.
As much as you complained, the 10 spot is so hard in previous weeks when it wasn't, you were just shit at your job. That particular part of the bracket, incredibly difficult. Not mad at anything you did there. I love that you're not falling for the Dolphins. The limbo pick of 8 for the Jags makes a ton of sense. You have them as a technicality ahead of the Texans, which leans nicely, and they would actually beat the Packers, no matter what other Cowboy fans on this panel would say, because they're healthier than they've been all year and have a guy who's campaigning to be a possible MVP candidate, as well as a very top lock as a defensive player of the year, and wants to convince me that they're worse than the Packers. I'm not buying.
It's just when we've talked about separating where teams are, for me putting the Packers above the Texans this week. I look at they lost to the Jags. Jags are obviously a good team. Can't fault them there. They only had the Texans only had a 5-point win over the Cardinals. They only had a 5-point win over the Broncos. They're winning. It's a tight window. I just feel like the Packers are rolling a little bit better than the Texans are. It's not slighting the Texans. It's just.
But I'm telling you unintentionally it is, because you're leaving out in the first time the Texans and Jags met, they blew them the fuck out at Everbank.
Okay.
So
I'm just looking at recent trends. If I'm getting the reason why teams are starting to make their way into the bottom part of the rankings, which I like last week, maybe even the week prior, this week included, I feel like the 9 and 10 spot is a tough one, because I think there's a lot of teams that are very similar in that pocket.
I'll say this, Jim. I agree with the 50-50 thing, 9A and 9B, whatever to call that. Texas has a better record than Packers, so that's the one thing I will say.
We're not making standings. We're making a power ranking.
No, right. I'm saying if you want to do like an edge here, why Texas ahead of the record. But I do see a point.
I don't think that's what you're applying, right?
Right. Yeah. I don't do it based on record. I do it based on feel. And like I said, if the 2 teams played this week, personally, I would pick the Packers over the Texans.
Are you getting 6 points?
By the way, Miami and Dallas play like the same team, different conferences though.
I've said that for a while.
No quality wins, but they beat down everybody they play in the way you're supposed to. Weird. Like Washington, blow them out. Yes. Every bad team they play, they blow them out the way you're supposed to. So
the thing about the Cowboys and where I give them kind of a pass as to why they're clearly better than a number 7 team, which the Dolphins are. I think you nailed that. And Jim, you said you had the Dolphins at 7 as well, correct?
I do, and that's more because of the Jaguars' current situation.
Fair enough. But I think the reason why you put the Cowboys clearly ahead of a Dolphins team is we've seen the Dolphins look mid against mid teams. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys, granted, the Cardinals stumble is confusing. I don't know what the shit to make of that.
Again, there's a lot of to that point. I mean, it's a bad loss. There's no getting around
so early
that bad loss. Other good teams have bad loss. I mean, again, the Eagles lost to Zach Wilson. Like there are times where bad weeks will happen.
But I don't feel like the Cowboys play a lot of mid games like the Dolphins do, right? So the albeit in shootout style, do I feel like they kind of escaped with one against Seattle? Yes. But this is a team who I had vying for a playoff spot throughout, and they stole one. So you got to give them credit for that, and that's why I feel like the Cowboys are ahead of the Dolphins.
You know what's cool, Kyle and Jim, well, Matt too. Also, so, you're quiet there, of course. Is that Dallas plays both Detroit and Miami in the next month?
Yeah. That's correct.
So we'll know a lot. Yeah. We'll know a lot going forward.
I think those will be fun games too, buddy.
Yes.
Yes. So I know, like Kyle, I know you said you would have the Lions above the Cowboys. So I assume that if the two teams played this weekend, you would pick the Lions.
I would.
Okay.
But I would with the caveat that if the Cowboys won that, I am more than happy to take them seriously from that point moving forward.
Okay.
That's in Detroit, right?
No, that is in Dallas.
Oh.
Doesn't change my answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at Detroit over the past month, and not that I'm abandoning my Lions. Let me be very clear on this.
You're not wearing a Lions jersey, Jim. We're not saying anything.
I'm a little concerned about my Lions is because I've seen them give up 38 points in a 3-point victory over the Chargers, 26 points in a 5-point win over the Bears. Obviously, the loss to the Packers, which is looking not as bad as it did a couple of weeks ago. All of a sudden.
Sure.
And then like a kind of a dogfight a bit against the Saints. I mean, they went up 21-0 early, and it was
that's the 1 seed Saints, though.
1 seed, Jim.
1 seed Saints, though.
I know.
Right.
All right.
Shut up, Matt.
Jim, that's a good point, but I feel like that's kind of the Lions' identity. So how do you reconcile that?
I mean, but I guess my thought there is when you're doing it against good teams, you may not be able to, start hot and hold on late when you're playing a Philly, a San Francisco, a Dallas,
a Kansas City.
I mean, they did win. They won against Kansas City. That was also, again, back in week 1. So
no Travis Kelce.
Right, no Travis Kelce, no Chris Jones. I get that, but this is just, I feel like they play every team close. Like the only time we should really punish them is on the rare occasions they do get blown the fuck out, like they did by the Ravens, which is why the Ravens are 3. I can make a strong argument for the Ravens at 2, slightly punishing the Eagles just for this week for the beatdown. But if
you wanted to, I didn't personally do it. If you wanted to put Baltimore at 2 and Philly at 3, I don't think there's a problem there.
You can shake up 5 through 8, and you wouldn't be wrong.
I would include number 4 into that one. I think
I have.
I know. Again, let's find the sounder because we know your deal.
Who do you trust? Hubba, hubba, hubba. Money, money, money. Who do you trust?
Jim, to your credit, though, it is lessening, though. It is lessening little by little.
Yeah.
Though. I will say
and I mean, they could certainly get back on track if they, get a big win over the Bills. Not that I think the Bills are that great, but I just, I do. And maybe it is just Chiefs are figuring out who they are as a defensive team and an aging Travis Kelce and all of that.
Week 14. What are we doing here? Like,
I'll say this much. If it was the Buffalo on Sunday, I'm concerned.
Sure.
I'll say that.
and I mean, you should.
And rightly so.
My man.
You should absolutely be concerned if they lose to the Bills. I think you should be concerned if they, if it's a game-winning field goal game against the Bills.
I want credit for this because I sunk myself to this level to explain it to you. I acknowledge this too by saying 4A, 4B, and 4C. If it were EJ doing it, that's what we'd see. Okay? I lowered myself to that bullshit to make this point. I want EJ to acknowledge that I allowed him in the party.
I like that. I like it. But otherwise, yeah, I think the teams, the teams are fine. You want to slightly juggle a couple of spots here or there. I don't really have an issue with any of the teams in most of the plays.
How far can you put the Eagles down? I mean, I know they lost big to the Niners, but how far? How many really?
All I said was swap Ravens and Eagles, dude. That's it.
Yeah, and that's and the Ravens were off this past week, I believe.
Correct.
So I guess for me that was another reasoning why I didn't. Had the Ravens beaten,
but the Eagles got beat that bad. I think that's fair.
They did. With
all due
but,
respect, man. I'm not trying.
They definitely did, but that was game 3 in 13 days, and they're going through this gauntlet that most people had them at 3-3, 4-2, and this is their first loss. So I think a beatdown like that was
respect when they had that same kind of action going on earlier in the year with the London games. But I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah, if you're giving grace to the Chiefs, then the Eagles definitely deserve grace also too.
I mean, the Cowboys play 3 games in 13 days every season, but whatever.
How many of them do they win, Jim? Did they go undefeated?
So far they have, or this year they did.
I know they didn't have that much. I know they had a plenty normal week when they got blasted by the 49ers. I know that shit.
They did. They did, and the 49ers are my number 1 team this week.
Man,
so.
Eagles and
rightly so.
Eagles it's gonna be fun. Can't wait for that game on Sunday night. Cannot wait.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. If you're talking about the NFC East, and EJ, you would also be right that this would be a must-win this week for Dallas. Not a must-win for the season, just for the division.
Oh yeah, definitely.
From where I sit, the NFC East is looking nothing like but a speed bump here.
we are a few days from having all 3 teams being all 10. That plays out 10-3 Cowboys, 10-3 Eagles, 10-3 Niners.
He even assimilated some NFC East players into our collective to whip that ass. That's fun.
All right, gentlemen, before we close out the show, let's do as we do each and every week and put out some guarantees.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, one thing that will happen this upcoming week. Ernest, EJ, Christian, please, I beg of you, do not be
you'll love this one. You'll love this one.
Do this.
My lock this week. My lock this week. The Panthers win their 2nd game of the year, being the number 1 seed Saints in the Superdome.
What just
lock
happened?
it up, baby? Lock it up.
I'm very confused.
Wow,
that spread is low. 4.5 points only at home against the worst team in football. Something smells.
He did not. He did not go lazy. I'm proud of you.
Yes,
I'm proud of you.
Bryce Young's back.
All right.
MVP.
Kyle, what's going to happen this weekend?
So my dude doesn't get the homer button smashed in his face. I guarantee that Matt's Eagles will sweep the Cowboys after Sunday night.
Lock it up.
All right, Matt.
I am going to predict the EJ's darling Packers lose. Lock it up to the Giants. To EJ's Giants.
Whoa. How conflicted would he be, sir?
If that should happen, that conversation changes next Tuesday's show on the Packers.
You motherfuckers. That was my
lock.
Was it really?
I was a Tommy Mozzarella was in the pack, and the Giants were going to hand LaFleur his first loss in December.
Stealing people's stuff this week, guys.
That's a crazy stat. About 16-0 in the month of December for LaFleur.
I mean, good to have Charlie as a quarterback.
Yeah, but I mean, that's still pretty good, man.
Yeah, it is.
Fuck it. Let's piss Devin off. The Titans get a big win against Miami.
No!
I love it.
Oh my God. If
blame Matt for this.
If the mayonnaise Messiah goes bananas on that defense, see what I did there? Goes bananas on that defense. If Will Levis throws the ball like that, Devin should be sad.
If that happens, they're out of the top 10. Derrick Henry's also hurt. May not be playing that game. So they lose that game.
That's right. Yeah.
Out of the top 10.
And I mean, let's be fair.
And rightly so.
And they're home too, also on top of that.
Yeah, that would be a bad loss. Hey,
EJ, he's not sitting on the fence anymore. You better apply a little bit more lube for yourself.
Yeah. Good job, Jim.
All right, boys. Let's go ahead. Let's close this one up. Matt, plug away.
Yeah, absolutely. You can hear me on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the 3CT podcast. Thursdays talking all things wrestling. Tuesdays just talking all things that come to our mind. Twice a year on the Earnestly Speaking podcast, twice a year on the pitch, every Monday on Maximize Monday, and here on Tuesdays.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Student of the game, Kyle Nash, plug away.
By the way, speaking of guesting on things, Matt, you're overdue to be on the Student of the Game podcast.
I am. I was just going to say once a year on the Student of the Game, twice a year.
Well, I say you do more than once a year, but I mean, you'd be willing to. We're just that busy, and
Yeah.
You're busy doing your 2 podcasts a year on the pitch. Anyways, So with all that in mind, I'll say once your Eagles make that lock happen with the Cowboys, maybe we'll arrange it that week. Anyways, with all that in mind, of course,
I love it.
You know what? Jim hit that, and I would even apply a clat logic to that, and rightly so. But with all that in mind, of course, I am Kyle Nash, the Student of the Game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram and Threads as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the Student of the Game. Check out my writings with the Jaguar Report, where I wrote about many firsts that took place on that Monday night, including a particularly dark turn for the playoffs hopes of the Jaguars, not even mentioning some of the positives there that EJ would be also alluding to with the Bengals as well. So check that out on the Jaguar Report, a Fan Nation in SI, as well as my work with the Black and Gold Banneret covering UCF football. Also check out my work with the 3-point conversion. You'll see my interviews from the locker room and post-game press conferences on the 3-point conversion YouTube channel, as well as on the 3-point conversion iHeartRadio channel. You'll see the Duval Dive, where me and my guy Travis Holmes talk the Jaguars every week, Friday at 11. And, of course, it's re-aired on that iHeartRadio there, as well as on oldschool101.com, 12 to 2 on Sunday, leading into your football action, where this weekend on the Pro Sports Fans app, Travis and I will also be doing a watch-along where the Jags will be traveling to the Browns. We talked about that game as well. But don't forget, tomorrow night, as you're listening to this record, 8:40 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, the Student of the Game podcast will take place. I have Andrew Glukov asking and answering all the questions surrounding the deluge of tears coming from EJ Christian and other FSU fans, as well as going through NFL picks. That's a fun time there too. And I'll have a very interesting statement to make to the committee in my intro. I think I'm going to knock a lot of people off kilter. I don't have a Magic game this week with A7BN Sports that I'm covering personally, but how about them achieving a franchise best 9-game winning streak? Apparently their season isn't over, according to Ernest EJ Christian.
Nothing is over!
An honor, joy, and privilege, fellas. But until next time, everyone, class.
I love that fucking drop, dude.
EJ, plug away.
EJ Christian 7 on Twitter. Ursula Podcast across all podcast catchers. I did 2 shows today. NBA episode with my friend Sir Denny Blanco. It's an excellent episode, of course. Student Game Report every Tuesday. Me and Kyle, had a great time today. Other shows come this week.
I mean, I know I did. You were crying a lot.
Shut the fuck up.
And dodging questions, but that's
I
besides.
didn't dodge questions, dude.
You absolutely did.
Oh my
Listen
God.
back to the tape.
Okay, whatever. My YouTube page, also check my YouTube page at youtube.com/@ErnestChristian. We're closing on 300 subscribers there. We're growing that channel well. Other than that, that's it, guys. Another great week. Had a good time.
Send some of your subscribers over here.
I tag.
No, I know it's wild, man. Like our YouTube page, and if you are catching any of these videos on the Huddle Up YouTube channel, including all the stuff Kyle does, we got a ton of content. Hit the subscribe button, man. Like the views have been soaring the past couple weeks. Just hit the subscribe button.
My wrestling retro episode I did last week with Robin and DJ last Friday, which I did not even promote yet, but I put it up. Over 450 views already.
Nice, good stuff.
Good
stuff.
Yeah.
Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Want to thank the gentleman here as always, and Kyle. No, I'm just kidding.
Good day. Final score to the Niner Cowboys game. Anyway.
Oh, you son of a fucking asshole!
I don't give a fuck.
You can subscribe to the show, all podcast platforms. Like us on all of our social media. We are at Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook, on Twitter, and on TikTok. Again, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, to the Twitch if you're over there, as well. Subscribe to us on all podcast platforms. Rate and review the show. You can get our merchandise over at TeePublic. Everything's on sale through December, so make sure you check that out. And you can follow me at Big Jim Sports, but mostly I want you to follow this show because I love this crew. We have a ton of fun, as you can see, and I would certainly appreciate all the support we can get there. Until next week, I hope you have a great week. Enjoy the holiday season. It is in full swing. And until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.